I feel euro is in a very peculiar position right now, because there are 2-3 things happening. One, euro has been struggling from a growth perspective, as everybody knows, right? For the past 3 years, eurozone growth has been 0.5 to 0 virtually. So even after the entire COVID related boom, the reversal of the COVID bust and then boom, it got over by Q1 of 23, and eurozone has been fairly flat, maximum 1% here and there. Now even Germany is struggling for growth, right? So this is the picture. So euro was never supposed to be strong to begin with. Even in 2024, even 1.12 on euro, we were clearly seeing it. 1.12 definitely is on the higher side. Why was it higher in 2024? Because the Federal Reserve was expected to cut more aggressively than the ECB. That was the only reason. Otherwise, fundamentally, euro has no business to be too strong against dollar. Now, what has happened? Obviously, with Trump, tariffs have added another layer of problem, because Trump has not really looked at euro tariffs as much, if you look at it that way. Because last time around, Trump was very focused on auto tariffs, etc. Because he was complaining that BMW and Volkswagen sell more cars in the US and so on. So that will come back. That will definitely come through in the coming months in terms of the in terms of discussion point. But more importantly, Trump's pet peeve is NATO and spending. Right at the end of the day, Trump is saying NATO's contribution of EU to NATO is much more less than US, and so they're not doing enough for it. And Ukraine, Trump wants a peace accord between Russia and Ukraine, and Europe doesn't want it. Clearly, there is a significant shift in the relationships. And even the last time US Vice President's speech in the Euro Parliament was really taken badly by the EU guys. So net, this thing is not that great for Euro in terms of the Eurozone when it comes to the relationship with US. Now, in this background, EU could take aggressive stances eventually, but as of now, the ECB therefore will be probably more forced to cut than even the Fed, right? So euro growth, on top of it, all these other structural concerns, and inflation in the Europe is not a concern anyway. It's flattened out around 2.5%. So net, we are looking at a scenario where euro is fundamentally weaker rather than stronger. In terms of the other parameters, economic parameters, Europe is not doing well. PMIs continue to be lower than 50, which is a recessionary scenario. Unemployment rate has been fairly constant. It is not moving much. Right, Eurozone interest rate has come off significantly. Right, 4.5, now it is 2.9. So they have cut a lot in terms of the interest rates. Okay, but more is expected now, because there's no way that they can avoid negative impact of US aggression when it comes to tariffs and other situations, right? So net, yes, there are some factors for positives also. Ukraine-Russia war, if it really gets over, then could be a positive to some extent. But in that process, what will euro take in terms of in its negotiations with the US? That is a challenge for the euro. But eventually it could be a positive. Second, US slowdown is actually a positive for the euro, because US, if it starts to slow down, then yes, the rate divergence will again start to converge, and you'll see some pick up in the euro just because of the rate divergences, right? And then defense spending, again, they're all going to rise. Then so growth could come up. Temporary growth could come up. Inflation does prevent too much of rate cuts, but definitely more than Fed as of now, as we speak, in our view. But that said, inflation, the defense spending can create some growth initially. So that's a positive for the euro. And also, of course, the massive fall from 1.12 to 1.04. So that kind of fall always gives you some opportunity for a bounce back. So that's a positive, right? But negatives, I think, dominate more. The growth will be struggling. The growth, as far as the growth is concerned, the Eurozone is struggling, and parity is definitely possible if Trump does aggressive negotiations and potentially impose large tariffs. But again, that is not a done deal. But parity is also equally possible, is what we are saying.